everybody. I'm Jonathan Randall, and welcome to How You Like Me Now 2023 edition. Oh my gosh, it's a new year. The podcast has made it now 2 years. It's very exciting. I hope everybody had a great New Year's. I hope everybody's excited about the new year. I feel like people put a lot of pressure on New Year's. What are we going to do? We got to have fun. We got to have the best New Year's ever. It's got to be a party. But everyone just has got to chill out. I mean, I live in New York City and things get like so crowded that I'm kind of like over like going out and like trying to like have an amazing time because it's just like too much. Like I feel like I'm just like some old curmudgeon-y guy. I'm just like, I just want to be left alone and I'll just cook some food that I really like or something and treat myself. And people are like, what are you going to do? Come out with us. Do this, do that. And I'm like, that all sounds horrible. I don't want to be like put like a sardine in a room with a bunch of people who are like all trying so hard to have a good time, you know? I always have a good time. I don't need New Year's to celebrate. I'm popping bottles of champagne as soon as we finish this podcast. But I am hoping that, next year brings a lot of good stuff for me. I mean, for you guys too, but I am a little, self-involved. So I definitely want, hopefully more listeners for the podcast. I hope my career does better. I hope my love life does better. I hope I make more friends and I travel more and see the world. And I hope I can contribute to making the world a better place because that's important to me. I used to think that my outlet to do that was through laughter and making people laugh and hopefully making them think a little bit along the way. But then, the more outspoken I've gotten about Palestinian human rights, I almost feel like I have this new kind of like calling in my life, which is to spread awareness about, the fundamental human rights abuses of the Palestinian people, and to also be an example of that there are Jewish people out there that care, that want a peaceful coexistence with Palestine, and that want to acknowledge and admit the mistakes that were made and that have been made. And that kind of, I guess, leads me to this documentary I saw that I wanted to talk about. It's called Tantura. I highly recommend it. When I talked about Farhal, I got a lot of crap because it was just based on a true story and a lot of the movie was fictionalized. But this is a documentary. So I know people are going to, say, oh, it's not true. It's all lies. But it's been proven by a lot of people that it's not all lies. There's a lot of documentation that says it's not all lies. And the truth is, it isn't all lies. And I got to say, this has really been bothering me because, I don't believe in this whole dumb, anti-Semitic trope of the Jews control the media. But I have really noticed a lot when it comes to Israel and when it comes to Palestine, we certainly try to control the narrative. All right. Anyone that speaks out against what we want, speaks out against Israel, is so quick to be labeled anti-Semitic. Me as a Jew, I speak out against the atrocities that committed, and I'm labeled a self-hating Jew. Anything that expresses, what the Palestinian people have went through, that talks about the Palestinian cause, is propaganda. So it's just like, it's ridiculous. Everything can't be, convenient for us to be like, oh, no, that's wrong, that's lies, that person's bad, that person's bad. So it is kind of like controlling the narrative in a negative way. We can't dismiss every single thing as anti-Semitism, as self-hating Jews, as propaganda. When you do that towards everything, it kind of makes it seem like you're full of shit with everything. So let's talk about the movie Tantura a little bit. It's a documentary. You could get it. It's available on Google Play. It's available in the iTunes store, and you could check out the Tantura website. So Tantura was a village, an Arab village on the coast of Palestine, what is now Israel, that I guess a massacre happened. That's what happened. A massacre happened, and they tried to cover up the massacre, and they basically did for many years. So there was this guy named Teddy Katz, and he went to university in Israel. He was an Israeli, and actually Teddy is named after Theodor Herzl, who was the father of modern political Zionism. That's where he got his name from. So Teddy Katz was in university in Israel, and he wrote his thesis, his master thesis, about this massacre that happened in Tantura. He interviewed Arab people. He interviewed people that were part of the IDF brigade that, you know, went into that town. He wrote this thesis that he got a 97 for. And then an Israeli paper picked up his thesis, wrote an article about it, and all hell broke loose. And, you know, the members of the brigade, the IDF brigade, they didn't want this information out. They got very upset. You know, the Israeli government got involved. The university got more involved. And basically they ruined this guy's life. They absolutely ruined his life. They removed his thesis. You know, he got sued. He went to court cases, and he got pressured into signing a document that, you know, everything he said in his thesis was actually false. This was after he had a stroke, after pressure from, you know, members of the brigade, from his family, from Israel. And then immediately after he signed this, he regretted it, and he wanted to recant it, and they would not let him. They refused to let him. And years later, these documentary filmmakers, they picked up everything that Teddy Katz, all the tapes he had, his thesis, and they created this documentary. And they interviewed a lot of the, you know, the IDF members that were in that town, and they are giving their testimony about what happened, and they are basically admitting that, like, they killed a bunch of Palestinians after the fact. After they took over the town, they murdered a lot of them. There was a mass grave. There's documentation. And basically, you know, this documentary is not only about the atrocities that happened, about interviewing the soldiers. Some still deny it. Some are admitting reluctantly what happened. And just about the cover-up that Israel did to make sure that this, like, isn't known, that people don't know that this happened. And listen, I don't think all members of the IDF are horrible people, but there definitely are some that are. And in 1948, while some may have, you know, carried themselves in a moral way, there definitely were ones that didn't, and they committed atrocities. These have been documented by Israeli historians that, you know, war crimes happened, that soldiers raped Palestinian women. Like, these are horrible and sad things. I wish they didn't occur, but they did. And it's way past time that we acknowledge these atrocities and we stop trying to marginalize the Palestinian trauma that happened. We have to acknowledge this. We have to say this happened, and it doesn't mean we have to say, hey, everybody, we're getting out of here, we're moving out, the land's all yours, but we have to acknowledge, maybe we could construct some memorials for the Palestinians that were massacred. Right now, where the mass grave for Tantura was, it's a parking lot. They covered it up with a parking lot. They should build a memorial there, and they should build other memorials for the Nakba and acknowledge that the Nakba happened. You know, one part that really struck a nerve with me in this documentary is there is this university professor, I believe it's from the University of Haifa, and he's being interviewed. He's talking about how in Australia, the Aborigine people are still, you know, being neglected, abused. They're still not being treated that great. But the Australian government is acknowledging what has happened to them, the pain that has happened to them. They are seizing lots of opportunities for, you know, whether it's monuments, whether having memorials, but acknowledging that, you know, through Australia, the Aboriginal people, they were treated very poorly. And in Israel, it's not even, I think the guy uses the words, it's not even on the glimmer of the public. Like, they don't do it at all. And it's so true, you know. So many Israelis that comment on the videos, they're so mad, they're so upset because, you know, Israel is trying to paint this picture of being the most moral army in the world, of, you know, being the chosen people. And the truth is, they haven't conducted themselves in that way, but they have like a PR team that wants the world to believe it. And it's certainly, you know, a lot of American Jews, a lot of Israelis, they bought into it. I know I bought into it growing up, and I just thought this, you know, Palestinians just left and, you know, they gave the land to Israel, but they were driven out of the land. Ethnic cleansing did occur. And if we want to move forward and we want to try to create goodwill and we want to try to have a peaceful existence with Palestine, we're going to have to acknowledge the trauma that was caused, okay? We could admit that we were wrong without just like giving up everything. You know, people want to get into this big argument, oh, well, does Israel have the right to exist? Does any place have the fucking right to exist? Israel does exist. But now we have to, it hasn't been existing in a great way, and now we have to change that. We have to admit the wrongs that were committed, and we have to try to do some right by the Palestinian people, and I feel like that's the only way Israel will be safe. That's the only way Israel is going to have a good future, and that is the only way that, like, the world will be a better place, and hopefully we'll have better relationships with Arabs, with Muslims, with Palestinian people, because Jews and Arab people, we are cut from the same cloth. We are cousins, all right? And we actually have so much more in common than we have different, and we have to move forward for prosperity and peace, and we have to not forget the future, but we have to, and somewhat accept it and move forward for a better future instead of letting the horrible past just tear us all apart. Definitely check out the movie Tantura. I highly recommend it. I bought it. I'm happy to own it. I've watched it already twice. And I really think everyone should see it. I think Israelis should certainly see it. And this denying the reality of what happened and denying Palestinian trauma has to end. Wow, that's some way to start off the new year, right? I'm just like going hard. But, I am passionate about it. And the more research that I've done, the more, I've uncovered that it's really not right what has happened to these people. And, just denying the amount of denial and the amount of just wanting to, like, brush it all off as anti-Semitism is truly sickening. And there are real anti-Semitic things that are happening in the world. And when we just want to label anything that doesn't suit our narrative as anti-Semitic, it takes away from the things that are actually anti-Semitic. I always say, like, the boy who cried anti-Semitism. We do not need any of that. Okay. All right. So I hope everybody had a happy holidays. I just kind of ate a lot of food on the holidays. That's how I celebrate. My Hanukkah was all latkes and sufganiyot, which are, I guess Jewish donuts are the best way to see him. And I ran to Russ and Daughters and I got them there. I went to Bread's Bakery and I got them there. And I am just a fat ass who is like, how many donuts can I eat? Do I need? And the Hanukkah was over and I got some Krispy Kremes. I know, I'm just a glutton. So I want to talk about a couple things. One, this congressman who lied about saying his family was in the Holocaust. Pretty crazy. Yeah, he got caught for a bunch of things. Santos is his name. He's a Republican senator from New York. He lied about where he worked. He lied about where he went to school. And he lied about his grandparents being in the Holocaust. And he is still going to serve in Congress, in Republican Congress. And all these lies, the Republicans are like, yeah, he's totally one of us. I also want to mention how I read this weird article today about how in South Korea they lifted the ban on imported sex dolls. And I was like, oh, but they were like, only domestic sex dolls for our South Koreans. I think that's just like a weird thing. Like, is there a tourist somewhere who's like, finally, I'm going to plan my trip to South Korea, I didn't realize South Korea, like, wanted their imported sex dolls so much that they, like, had to, like, get the ban lifted. But I'm pretty sure that they did it after Christmas because anybody that wanted a sex doll was definitely on the naughty list. Another thing I was reading was about how Kim Kardashian was crying because it's so hard to parent with Kanye West. Shut the fuck up, Kim Kardashian. No, it's hard being a young girl and feeling shitty about your body because of you and your dumb family and the unrealistic body image that you have given young women, and how you continue to perpetrate that, and how your bodies aren't even real. Yeah, not only have you guys gotten plastic surgery, but you have trainers, you have the best money could buy to make you guys look good, and you just blast this shit on social media, make young girls feel bad about themselves, and then you want to cry, oh, but me, it's hard to parent with Kanye. Well, you fucking knew Kanye was crazy, but you didn't give a shit because it suited you at the time. It helped raise your brand. It made you feel good. You knew Kanye was crazy. You still had a fucking kid with him, and now you want to cry to get more attention. Shut up. Anyways, I hate the Kardashians. I'm not a fan. I was debating whether I even wanted to like mention them because like they're not really worth my breath, but I had to because it just frustrates me so much that like she wants to like go like use her time in the media to cry about that instead of trying to do something like positive for the fucking world. Yeah, we all know Kanye's fucking crazy. So did you. You're still the idiot that married and had kids with him. Okay, Phil, I think it's time for us to do a little nerding out right now. Yeah, we don't really have a song, but we still we got to get together a song. We got to get together a graphic for, nerding out with Phil. I was debating what to nerd out about, because I told you about the Tulsa King, which I'm still watching. I'm become a big fan of the show. I never enjoyed Stallone so much, but I watched the rest of the season of Rick and Morty. Okay. So I thought we could nerd out about that. Not my favorite season.
Oh my god! I mean, I personally loved it.
You loved it. I felt like, I don't know why. I felt like I wasn't as into it as the other seasons. I thought the other seasons were funnier. I thought they had more of like a through line.
You didn't like when when Morty dropped the lightsaber perfectly fucking vertical?
I mean, that was kind of funny. And then, and then like when the president did it again and the whole thing. But I guess I wasn't like super into it. I think it's maybe they were getting back the dimension gun. I guess they weren't like traveling through the dimension so much. Maybe that's an aspect of the show that I was missing. But I mean, the season ended and I watched the last episode, and I was kind of like, oh, that's it, it's over. I don't know, I just like kind of like wanted something more. I'm a huge fan of the show. I keep seeing clips from the video game they did, and I'm not really into video games, but it looks pretty cool.
No, that's true. It does look really, really cool. I'm upset because I have a PS4 at the house. I know. Don't judge me.
I won't.
But I have a PS4 at the fucking crib, and it's only like an Xbox One or whatever the fuck that new Xbox is that you can buy that game.
Yeah, you can buy that game.
And
okay.
I'm like, fuck, I wish I just had that. But I love Rick and Morty. Also I noticed my the mute button was on the first time when I said perfectly fucking vertical. So I love Rick and Morty. I thought this season of Rick and Morty was great. One of my favorite lines was when or one of my favorite clips is when he drops the lightsaber perfectly fucking vertical. I love in shows where they say the same phrase over and over again. They find like a really stupid phrase to say constantly. And also too, what I really liked about it is, yes, in some ways, it definitely wasn't the best season, but it's definitely, I think, kind of like in the top 3 simply because of what it was doing. It was basically like trying to pay off everything that had happened previously. You know what I mean? And like, I think they've had such a big, like, I guess, mythos for the show. You know what I mean? So many things are happening, and you still don't know about Rick and this, that, and the third. And so this time, after the Citadel is finally gone, spoiler alert, although I'm not going to, don't be mad at me. You could have watched season 5 fucking like 2 years ago.
Right? I guess I loved season 5 so much. I think so. That's maybe season 6 was like a little like, I was like, oh, it was just like 5. I thought it was so great.
No, that's true. And here's the thing. 5 was amazing, but I also felt like I liked what they were doing in this season, especially because, number one, I did like how they stopped going to so many different dimensions in the sense of like, no, now your problems are going to stay with you. I think that's the whole point of this season.
Okay.
The problems are here.
You can't just escape them.
You can't just escape shit. And I think that's the whole thing, and that's really what Evil Morty kind of set in path for Rick at the end of season 5. It's like, fuck you. You can't live in your own giant infinite crib and you're an infinite fucking baby. You know what I mean? And so you're just going to have to adjust. You're in like I like how now his family doesn't even really like him and they shit on him even though he's the smartest one. It's like, yeah, that's what would happen.
Right.
Like, you're an asshole. You treat everybody like shit.
Yeah, he's finally trying to like do good by them this season because like they're really all like over him.
Yeah, they're like, dude, you cause way more trouble than solve things. You never make fun shit. You always make awful things and then we have to leave and fuck you, So I think that's a really, really cool thing. I can't wait for the next season because I think it's going to really be incredible and it's going to be way better than season 6. I will also say, though, I felt like this season was way too short.
It did seem short, right? Were there not
Way
as
too
many
short.
episodes as the other ones?
I don't think so, because there was like 10 episodes this season. Usually there's like 13, I feel
Okay.
like. But even so, I'm like, I think they could have maybe done like 15 or something like that.
I mean, I want more. I think everybody wants more. Like
Of
Rick and
course.
Morty, people love it. Like it has a huge fan base. You know, it's
Yeah.
like I think like the best animated show out there. I don't
Dude,
even know what's better.
I really
One of the
think-
best shows. Forget about even animated. You know,
Absolutely. I think it's really, really incredible. I mean, the whole
I want a
thing-
movie. I want a Rick and Morty movie.
Yeah, that would be great.
Right?
I mean, dude, they're gonna do it.
Probably like when the season when it ends,
When it's
they'll be like,
over,
oh, and then we'll do a movie
they're
or
gonna
something.
do like a big movie, and it's gonna be crazy. But I mean, I really loved it, especially like the first episode, where they're officially stranded and shit, and everybody gets thrown back to their original universes.
Right,
and
right.
all that shit. Was that? I think that was the first episode, right? Where
I don't remember which one it was.
It's either the
but-
first or like the second episode. Something happens, and they all get sent back to their respective universes. I
Yeah.
almost said neighborhoods.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy how like they're all taken from different universes,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know?
And it's kind of cool in that way because you get to see like the original world from the original fucking pilot and how destroyed it is, and how like you have this like savage Jerry running around who's just a badass, right?
Right.
And Morty left him, and there's a reason why he fucking hates his own son. Like, it was just so real. And then the whole thing with the AI voice at the house, where like Rick walks into his house and there's the sound of his wife's voice. haunting
Okay, yeah,
him.
because that was dark. That was dark, but I like that. I mean, I fantasize
hilarious.
sometimes about like other universes. Like that would be cool, you know? Like
Yeah.
like what's like a parallel universe or
Who do you think you are in another
dimension?
universe?
I wonder. I think I'm incredibly successful. All right. I think everything that I work hard for in this universe comes to fruition in the other universe.
Everybody thinks they're a Rick. No one thinks they're a Jerry. You know what I mean? I always wonder. I'm like, because I believe in the multiverse and all that shit. I'm like, my life, has its ups and downs, but then a part of me is like, is this the best version of my life in all of infinite space?
Which one? You think this
This one.
this one is?
It's not that I think it. I just question that
Oh,
sometimes. Like, I
okay.
smoke weed and be like, dude, like, I'll think of other universes and I'm like, what if this is the best one?
I mean, that's sad and very depressing to me. I've never thought of that. Like, I guess I want to have some hope that there are better universes out there. And I like how you say that. I believe in the multiverse. Like someone's like, well, I believe in Jesus. And you're like, I
There's
believe in the
there's people who
multiverse.
don't though. There's people who really honestly think it's just this world and this that.
Hey, people think the Earth is
Yeah.
flat, and people think that Trump was the best president ever. So people are totally fucked up.
There you go. There you go. Oh, hold on. Sorry. I do want to nerd out with this one thing, if you wouldn't mind.
It depends what it is.
Have you seen the Miss Cleo documentary?
No, I have not. Miss Cleo was like the psychic
Calling me
hotline.
now. Yes.
Okay.
Miss Cleo.
Thank you. I feel like I can't do the impression.
No, you can't. And I did it purposely. My family, if they heard that, they'd be like, "How dare you?"
What's it on?
It's on HBO Max.
Okay, it's good.
It's incredible. I loved it. I'm not the hugest documentary person,
Okay.
but I tore through that shit like wet tissue paper. Like, it's really good. It's very, very interesting. They talk about the woman and who she was as like a person. You find out the dark history of who she actually is as a human being.
Her name's not even Cleo.
No, it actually kind of is, but it turns out she was a con artist who would travel.
Of course,
around for
you got to be a
years.
con artist when you're like telling people like psychic bullshit over the phone. Of course, you're a con artist.
But here's the deal, though.
I got to get a fucking job like that.
Here's the deal, though.
I could
You know
bullshit
what's- You know what's
people.
crazy though is, so she changed her name like 4 times. She passed away years ago from cancer, but she's changed her name like 4 different times, right?
I wonder
But-
why she didn't see that cancer coming.
Yeah, right. See, that's what everybody says, and the lawsuits. Fuck you, okay, you fucking asshole. But here's the thing, though, is that a lot of people, and even people who didn't necessarily like her, and that she may have swindled in certain ways, still believe that she truly had a gift. And that's what's so
Crazy,
that's
you
what's so
know?
nuts. And from watching it, like, I mean, I've never met the lady. I'm not convinced, but like, it's like, yo, this could be real. Like, and also too, like, she changed her name, but she wasn't necessarily like conning people like today I'm a real estate agent and I'm selling somebody a fake house, and they
Well, she was selling people like their psychic readings, whatever. That's bullshit, you know? And like people, they want to hear and what they want to hear, you know? In White Lotus, Jennifer Coolidge's character, she gets a psychic to come in the second season, and the psychic like tells, and she doesn't like what the psychic has to say. She's like, get out. Like she doesn't want it, you know? Because people want to hear what makes them feel good. It's the same thing with like mediums. I feel like that people like, oh, your dead relatives. Like, what are they saying? You know, like people want to believe it. It's just like reading your horoscope. You look into it to see what works for your life. I don't believe that there are psychics. I don't believe people know that kind of thing. I think it's just bullshit. I think they are con artists, whether they believe it or not. Some might do it like with goodwill to help people, and other people just do it to take advantage. But I don't think someone really could like know someone's future or whatever.
Really? Okay. Listen. I mean, as somebody who believes in the multiverse.
I mean, I believe more in the multiverse than I would believe in like a psychic, you know? Like the multiverse kind of like makes sense to me, especially after seeing Doctor Strange. No, I'm just joking. That was a bad one. But like the multiverse I could believe, but like a psychic person, not in this universe.
That's terrible. Don't do that again. That was awful.
Hey, all right, whatever.
Fair enough. But yes, I just go.
Maybe I'll check it out.
We'll have to talk later.
Miss Cleo.
Miss Cleo. It's called. I think it's called "Call Me Now."
It's Call Me Now.
Call Me Now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
It's really good. So check it out.
I wish someone would call me now, but everyone's just fucking texting these days. Pick up the phone. Make a call. Tell me my future. I won't fucking believe you, but it'll be nice to hear your voice. So I don't like shaking hands, everybody, okay? And I'm really coming out about my anti-shaking hands attitude. I thought after COVID we would be done with shaking hands. I thought we'd learned a lesson, you know? So many people died. I thought we'd just be like, okay, maybe a fist bump's good for now, but people want to fucking shake hands again, and I can't stand it. I don't want to shake your hand. Like, if I know you, okay, I'll shake your hand, and if I really like you. But if you're a stranger, I do not want to shake your hand. I am being so aggressive these days with, like, the fist bump. Like, as soon as I meet somebody, I'm, like, showing them the fist, like, so they'll know, so they'll go for it. But some people still are trying to shake my hand, and now I've finally just been like, I don't like shaking hands. And I just tell them that, and that's the way it is. And so many people are thinking I'm the biggest asshole right now because I don't want to shake hands, but I don't want to fucking touch your hand, dude. I don't know where you are. I don't know where you were doing. I don't know where your freaking hand has been. I don't want your sweaty palm against my sweaty palm. Yes, they are sweaty sometimes. I'll give you the fist bump. Let's just leave it at that. Don't try to shake my hand. Anyways, everybody, thanks for listening. I hope 2023 is the best year for me and you and Phil. Check us out on social media at How You Like Me Now podcast. Of course, you can check me out across all social media at Jonathan Randall. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Jonathan Randall. How You Like Me Now.